Peace and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Folks, we got a lot of great conversations lined up for you. First and foremost, let's talk about the delay of the vote of the Respectful Marriage Act. The Senate has announced that they're deciding to make a final vote on keeping the bill which federally protects same-sex marriage, keeping that intact until after the midterm elections. We'll talk about the impact of that decision. Also, can we talk about President Biden deciding to meet with the Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan families today at the White House to give them an update about the negotiations to bring the two Americans home. We'll have some details around that. And then later, we check in with Chromatic Black to talk about the Ida B. Wells grant, which is an opportunity for Black creatives to do their thing. And we have the Culture Spotlight, where we check in with unsigned hype Tolivia about why she's deciding to do the music of being a singer the way she does it. So we'll have all of that on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Folks, I'm ready to go. So should you be. We'll be right back. Come on, stay with us. Folks, welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon for some amazing conversations about a host of things. Big shout out to my online culture crew. Y'all know who you are. Y'all checking in on YouTube, Facebook, and all of our streaming platforms. Big shout out to you. And of course, I want to invite all of the new watchers. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time, trust and believe you will enjoy the conversations. And of course, we will make sure that we have your input on these discussions, because no conversation is complete without you. So make sure y'all stay tuned and get ready for that. Now, big shout out to Black Star Network. We're continuing to do the great work of being a Black media institution, creating a platform to have these conversations. So we can't do this by ourselves. We need your support. Make sure you go to our website at blackstarnetwork.com and support us as we're doing the great work of telling our story and pleading our case. Find all the good things, all the happenings, all the latest shows. Big shout out to Sherry Shepherd. She getting a new show here on Black Star Network. But you can find all of that right there at our website at blackstarnetwork.com. All right, folks, we got a lot to get to. I'm very, very excited about this first conversation because this is it really shows the political footing of the GOP, as they have announced just yesterday, saying that they're going to put a delay. The GOP and the Democrats have decided to put a delay on making a final vote to keep the Respectful Marriage Act in place. Now, this is the bill that would federally protect same-sex marriage and interracial marriage. Now, we often just talk about the same-sex marriage, but this is also about interracial marriage as well. Wow. So they say that the GOP and the Democrat, but mostly the GOP, has said that they're going to delay the vote until after the midterms. I wonder why they're going to wait until after the midterms to vote on such a controversial hot button topic. Maybe it's because Roe v. Wade was overturned. Maybe because people aren't feeling the GOP quite as much these days. I don't know. We're going to check in now with Culture Crew member Bakari Jones, who is a strategist. She is a nonprofit leader. She's an advocate and activist working within the LGBTQ community, and to get her insights on this. And folks, make sure y'all post your comments on YouTube, Facebook, and we'll bring your discussion, your thoughts into the discussion as well. Bakari, how you doing, sis?
Farajii, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Bakari.
I'm doing all right, man. You hit me, you tripped me up with the chin action, Farajii. They got you by the hairs of the chinny chin chin. I'm like, why would the Democrats do such a thing?
It's going to change. You know, it's just a little something, something, something.
I see you. I see you.
So what do you make of this? Now, when I read and I saw this story coming out, I was like, politics. This is all politics, right? So here's the situation, folks, and I want to share with you very quickly the kind of the backstory behind this this decision. Keena, let's post this on the screen, bro. Thank you, sir. You said, here's the thing. Senator Tammy Baldwin, who is a Democrat out of Wisconsin, she's the lead sponsor of the Respectful Marriage Act, that said that that their delaying action would increase the chance of getting the 10 Republican votes needed to push it through the evenly divided Senate, where 60 would be necessary to move it forward. Okay. According to Senator Elizabeth Warren, she put it out there. She said, we need to vote on equal marriage today. She said every single member of Congress should be willing to go on the record. And if there are Republicans who don't want to vote on that before the election, I assume it is because they are on the wrong side of history. So for Senator Baldwin, she's trying to get enough votes so that way she don't have to go to get the 60. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is was a presidential candidate, she said, we need to move on this today. The point is, it's getting delayed, folks. But how should we interpret this delay? Is it political, or what is it that you're seeing right now, Bakari, with this?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I mean, as you just said, why, right? In addition to just why in general, I think what was it, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about President Biden using colorful and explosive language, right, in his address, starting to apply a little bit of pressure. Why are the Democrats letting up at this point, right? That's my question. I think honestly we're in a position now where it really is just, I think generationally it's really difficult to have a lot of faith and confidence in our political representatives. You know, I want to know why they're not applying more pressure. Specifically, one of the things that, you know, the article in the Times calls out is that it literally is giving Republican senators breathing room. So why not just squash it? And I think to Senator Warren's point, if they're going to vote against it, let's be able to hold it up. Let's be able to go back to their constituents and say, hey, look, these are the folks that voted against it. And now what are you prepared to do about it? You know, I think giving them this amount of leeway in the midterm is unnecessary. And I feel like, Farajii, we've talked so much about the level of relentless strategy that the Republicans have had. And to me, it just seems like an opportunity for them to let up that I don't think that they needed to give. I just don't think they needed to do it. So and
you know what? It's interesting, Bakari, because I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like this is a federal protected situation where, like I said, you know, you're talking about same-sex marriage, but then you're also talking about interracial marriage, right? And so, you know, it seems like, yeah, it's the politics of it, but I think this is just another part of the culture war that we see here happening in this country, where you got people in the GOP side is like trying to be in a kind of like this state of denial that the American people are going this direction. You know what I mean? Like people, they just not getting it. Like, if the will of the people, if the representatives that we have in government is supposed to be, you know, doing the work, the people's work, supposed to be putting into policy the will of the people, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, folks didn't get people elected to try to preach them out of what they think they want. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that, you know, we kind of go back and forth with political leadership. And it's like, whether you agree or disagree with the issue, if people are like, hey, let's just make this thing happen, let's just make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just comes down to that. That's because that's your job. That's your job.
Yeah. That's what you committed to doing on our behalf. Yeah.
Right. And let me ask you this though. Do you feel like the sentiment that people have around same-sex marriage is the sentiment getting quote unquote better? And I'm just using that term just to give people the context. But do you feel like people are more accepting, or people? I mean, what are you hearing from your side of things?
So it's a lot of layers. I think that I wouldn't use the word accepting yet. When I use the word accepting, the actions associated with that look like celebration, look like being embraced, right? Look like you being able to be your full self. I do think that we've made progress, but I still think that we are in a space where we're categorically, if we're collectively speaking, I think we're closer still to a level of tolerance. And some of that tolerance, I think, is also from a space of ignorance. And I don't necessarily mean ignorance, I think sometimes in like the malicious way that folks can use in that connotation. I really think just a lack of information that folks may not necessarily know. I also think that we are still a very religious culture and country, right? We still hold on to some of these puritanical sort of values, regardless of what sort of Abrahamic faith the majority of the country practices. So I think that we're still in this space where folks are conservative. That said, I think that many of us are at the point where, generationally speaking, we may not agree with it, but we are in the space where I think the majority of us are saying we live and let live, right? Just because I don't necessarily want to interfere with it. So it's kind of what we do behind closed doors is one thing, but I'm willing to respect the rights of another person. So I do think that we're leaning closer to that space of wanting to just show a level of respect for one another as Americans. I do think that we're leaning that way. So I do think that the sentiment is leaning closer to, again, tolerance, but tolerance and that being coupled with this level, this sort of baseline of respect. So I do think that, there's some progress there. And I say that it's complicated because I think now, right, when this is now combining both same-sex and interracial, that gets complicated. And Farajii, we've talked a lot of times, well before this show, right, about the level of tension, especially that a lot of Black Americans feel when we start to conflate race and sexual orientation. When we start to mix those things together, people are really clear about wanting those separated classes. So it's going to be interesting to see. I do think that because of the coupling with interracial marriages, I think that strengthens the odds of right. I think that is going to work in favor ultimately of same-sex marriage rights. And the last thing I just have to put out there is that there's so much more to discuss besides just the ability to get married. And I think that ultimately with same-sex couples and with interracial couples and what a lot of non-traditional and blended families in the United States really want is the option to protect their loved ones. And so if same-sex marriage rights is a step in that direction to be able to say that this is the quote-unquote alternative family structure, if there's progress that can be made there, my hope is that what comes, following that is in the space for more, again, non-traditional family structures to be protected classes as well.
No, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one, Bakari. I know that we use the term tolerance, and that's one of those terms where, personally, it just sounds like like when you're trying to deal with people, you shouldn't have to tolerate them. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like, I love the fact that it's just let's say, okay, let's just respect them. Mm-hmm. But tolerance it sounds like man, if I had a choice, and I get, some people, of course, we know that people have varying views on the topic, on a lifestyle, but it's at the end of the day, this is happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There is an LGBTQIA community in America, right? All right. So now that's another group of people. And that even in and of itself, by it being a mixture, Black, white, Asian, Latino, and all these other folks, right? You have to figure out how to make sure that in your governance and representation, that the interest of that community is heard is protected. You just have to do it. You see what I'm saying? If we have, and there's a larger conversation about migrants coming into the country right now, right? Whether it's coming from Florida and other that, because America's brand is come on over, for lack of a better word, that's America's brand. Come on over, we got you.
Some of y'all.
So you got some of you, right? It's like you have to learn how to figure things out to say, all right, let me, because at the end of the day, everybody's human. Everybody wants the same thing. I truly believe this, Bakari. I believe people want to your point, you said, to protect their families. You know, if we're changing what family is, and there's, conversation about that, but I think all of us would just want to make sure that we're protected, make sure that we're safe, make sure that we're healthy, make sure that we can support ourselves financially. I mean, I think we all pretty much got the same wants. So it's very, very interesting, to say the least, about this whole situation. And I think, to your point, and I want to bring this up, Akina, let's show the second quote. This is coming from the PRRI research group, folks. Take a look at some of the numbers that we found around the sentiment of same-sex marriage. Check this out. This came from, like I said, PRRI. And one of the things that they looked at is basically, where does America stand on same-sex marriage in particular? Now, I didn't see anything, and I'm sure there's plenty of data out there about interracial marriages, right? And interracial, let me just say this very quickly, interracial doesn't necessarily mean black and white either.
Correct.
Actually, it can be like black and Latino, white and Asian. You know what I'm saying? They just throw it all in. It's different combinations. So that's going to be interesting. But take a look at this. And Keena, if we got that quote. Yep. Thank you, bro. You said, it says nearly 8 in 10 Americans, 79%, folks, favor laws that would protect gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people against discrimination in jobs, public accommodations, and housing, including 41% who strongly support them. 1 in 5 Americans, 20%, oppose such laws, including just 7% who strongly oppose them. Most Democrats, 89%, independents, 82%, and almost 2/3 of Republicans, 65%, favor non-discrimination provisions for LGBTQ people. So there is a sentiment that people are saying, okay, live and let live. There's a sentiment now among Americans, among Democrats, Republicans, and independents. Folks are just saying, look, we have to make sure that everybody is protected, make sure that everybody get a fair shake. You know what I mean? And the policies need to reflect that. Are you surprised by this, Bakari, or is this is what you expected?
I was surprised by the percentage of the Republicans.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I was surprised, right? I think that was the only surprise for me. I think 1 in 5 sounds, being strongly opposed to me in general sounds, sort of on par again. But I think that I think the percentage of Republicans that actually do support, and what we sort of see in mass media as this unified Republican approach or perspective or stance, rather.
Yeah.
Those two things, seem to sort of contradict each other, which again, right, to your point, is it's just politics.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. All right, folks, let's get some of your comments in as we talk about this, folks. We've been talking about the fact that the Senate has decided to delay their vote on the Respectful Marriage Act, which would federally protect same-sex marriage and interracial marriage. Let's go to Janae. Janae, you kicked us off. TGIF, Janae, you said, that's right. Thank God it's Friday. Man, oh, man. Same thing with waiting on the documents from Mar-a-Lago. This after the election is some finagle bull. The Republicans are losing. I want us to start really thinking about this, folks. It is no guarantee that the Republicans are going to win Congress in this November's election. I know we put that out months ago. People was like, oh, it's expected, it's going to happen. Donald Trump, Roe v. Wade, MAGA Republicans. These are the things that's driving people to the polls. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Janae, thank you so much. Janae, you also said, agree that before the election is the McConnell, no Senate, but if we lose seats, we're going to feel some real heat. This is a fine line, and holding breath is not an option. No, it's not. Absolutely not. You don't like my music. You checked in. Good to hear from you. You said where we stand means nothing. It's where SCOTUS stands that matters. Yeah, that's the other one. And I think that's one of the huge concerns too. You don't like my music and Bakari, because Clarence Thomas, you remember once they dealt with the Roe v. Wade decision, he was like, we're going to look at same-sex marriage next.
Yeah.
So this might actually come down to a Supreme Court decision overturning this bill. And can y'all imagine that? Let me just share this with y'all real quick, folks.
Go ahead.
It's one thing, like Bakari, you and I know, we study politics, we know the trend. If you overturn Roe v. Wade and you repeal same-sex marriage and you encourage states to do the same thing, bruh, interracial marriages, and bruh, the Republicans can kiss all of it goodbye.
Yeah.
Not just this election, but they can kiss that presidential election. I'm telling you, because people don't want this level of I don't even know how to call it, like not even intervention. People don't want this level of control. You can't love who you love. You can't marry who you want to marry. People don't want that. You can't have a baby. This shit is out Handmaid's Tale, man. Like this is look, this is getting to be in a whole different state of affairs here in this country.
Which is why, I'm so curious about Senator Baldwin's approach, like strategic approach to this, right? I mean, and she's focused on getting 10 votes. She's like the bar.
When she said they said it, they could possibly get. They just want to make sure it's a strong 10.
Right.
Not like a 6 and a possible.
And a possible, you know what I mean? A sticky hand. Which I understand, but man, and again, the article mentions Schumer wanted to go forward with the vote. I guess I just don't understand what politics, what do the Democrats had to lose by going forward with this vote, right? If you already feel solid about the 10. So it just, it begs the question, is that something was that a bargaining chip, right? That was leveraged on behalf of some of these Republicans to save them from casting votes that would hurt their outcome this fall. So it's a lot on the line for Farajii.
It's a lot on the line. A lot on the line. And you know what? I'm gonna go as far as to say this too, Bakari. If the Supreme Court makes another major decision before, and it could be before this election,
True.
It could be after the election. If they make another major, there's going to be so much talk about the Supreme Court, how the Supreme Court is put together in terms of being conservative versus liberal. Because now the Supreme Court is supposed to be the quote unquote the unbiased voice of the law, right? Of the interpretation of the law. Mm-hmm. If it comes down to this president can nominate this person, this president can nominate that person, mm-hmm. and it becomes a numbers game essentially. It becomes a numbers game for whichever president, right? Like we just saw 2 Supreme Court justices in one term. It's going to force this country to look at how the Supreme Court justices are determined. And people are going to be like, you know what? The Supreme Court is nothing, because it's going to go based upon party lines and not necessarily based upon the law, the interpretation of the law, the enforcement of the Constitution. Mm-hmm. It's going to be partisan just as much. Out of all the institutions of our government, out of all the branches of our government, the Supreme Court shouldn't be as partisan as it should be, as it is. It doesn't make sense. You should be looking through the lens of the law, looking through the lens of the Constitution, and not through the lens of your party platform.
Yeah.
And if they decide to make a decision about this before even after, I'm telling you, we're going to have another conversation. The Supreme Court going to be seen just like a circuit court, just like a district. We're going to be like, oh, that's the judge. They political. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a Republican judge. Yeah. They're going to let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to take them seriously anymore.
I think we're right. We're right there.
Right there.
We're right there. We're right there.
Right. So. Right. Let's get some more folks to check in. Let me hear from Damon, my guy Damon. Pastor Damon, good to hear from you, brother. You said, I have said it before, you cannot legislate your morality onto other people. That's real. That's real. That is so real. Brother Damon, that's real. And as much as we want to, you can't do it. Bakari, you cannot do it. Mm-mm. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, if you want this country to be better or go into a certain direction or have or embrace certain values, then you're going to have to encourage that, but give the people a chance to make their own decision about whether they're going to do that or not.
That's it.
Otherwise, it's not going to happen. You cannot force people to have certain morals or to have certain values or to see the world the way you see it. You can't. That's a futile attempt. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's worth time, money, energy, nothing. You just can't do it.
I agree.
Let's go back to what folks are saying. Janelle, you detected and said, and those that claim to know the definition of sin have no concept of grace in their heart. That's a whole other conversation. Mm. That's a whole other conversation right there. That's you know, and here's the thing, folks. This is, I think, maybe something that may be helpful. This is not a conversation about morality. This is about a conversation about protecting humanity. Mm. From a political standpoint, and here's why I'm saying it. And I'm saying laws. I'm just saying laws, right? Because that's what this is really about. I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, like, we can have the conversation about morality, but that's subjective, that's based on who you are, your experience, and all of that. That doesn't take away the fact that you're a human being, you live in America, and you should be able to be, you should be able to have rights, and your rights should be protected. That don't take away none of that.
Correct.
Am I wrong on that?
Not in my opinion. Not at all. I mean, I think that's what we're talking about, right? But I think it's always such a interesting conversation to have with folks, where it's like, for you to take that stance, you're using your rights to have that stance in the first place, right? If you didn't have the freedom to practice the religion that you prefer, that you choose, then you wouldn't even be able to take that stance in the first place. So I kind of get it. It always trips me up to get into that cyclical conversation with folks who want to have they uniquely want their religious freedom, but do not want to extend it to anyone else. So.
Right. Exactly. All right, let's take one more before we take our next pause here. Lori Parks. Lori, checking in. Good to hear from you, Lori. Sound like you're a new watcher or you just haven't been saying much, but I'm glad that you're joining us in the conversation today. You said, yep, there's going to be upsets against the Republican. There's going to be a record-breaking voters turnout, especially with the women's vote because of Roe versus Wade. Let me tell y'all something. We act like Republicans aren't gay, aren't married to black men, or aren't women. We act like white women. Please. Like they just cookie cutter. No. Some people are Republican because it works well for their tax bracket.
That part.
We talked about it earlier this week, Bakari, where 14% of black men voted for Trump. Y'all think he voted for Trump? This is the same guy that has a history of prejudice and discrimination, particularly against black men. Why would black men vote for Trump? The same way because at some point they see him being an advocate for their interests. Well, that's the same way. Everybody and this is what I understand. Like, you got your crazy hardcore MAGA type folks, but then you got some other folks who are just like, hey, man, I mean, I'm just trying to make sure I'm saving a little extra dollars here, or it just works in my best interest because I live in this state. But you got to be honest with yourself nowadays. That's what I'm saying. You got to be your whole authentic self at this point, because if you just trying to go along and get along just because you just want to keep your little dollars in your pocket, or you don't want no friction, trust and believe that's going to come back to bite you in the ass. This is America 2022. If you're not your authentic whole self and you're not standing strong and confident in that, it won't work. You're not going to get as far. It's just that simple, Bakari. What's your take on that?
I couldn't agree more. I think the piece that I would add to it is that we all have the sort of responsibility, I think, to be our authentic selves. I mean, and for some, maybe it's not a responsibility. It's a choice, right? You have the choice. You have the opportunity to be authentic self. I think that 14% is really interesting, but it's also, it aligns, I think, with those who, and I mentioned this before, who are still going to hold tightly onto capitalism as I think, and it feels very much like in our lifetime, Farajii, like we're going to see capitalism collapse, right? It's not sustainable. So to see that population of folks voting in what's aligned with the new language, I am understanding this week and breaking down, dissecting, is this sort of rugged individualist approach and perspective on things, right? But you voted because that uniquely supports your finances, and you prioritize that over what this person in office was going to mean for us communally.
Yep.
So,
if we see, man, because we ain't got enough time to deep dive into that one, sis. I'm telling you, why you gonna bring that? You know that gets my juices flowing.
Couldn't help it.
No, real talk.
%, man. I mean, we know that's what's driving their decision making, right? It's dollars. I mean, and that's a lot of what Trump and his supporters, that's what, as much as he's used as a figurehead around a lot of racialized distractions.
Yeah.
The core, I think, of what he wanted to put forth was, right, less government, but ultimately more money in the pockets of Americans, right? But we know that a lot of the policies that he put forward just did the opposite, but that's neither here nor there, Farajii. So
no, but I think you're speaking, I think you're just speaking something real major, because I feel the same way that this is the breakdown of capitalism. The place that we're in right now, we're seeing the wall of capitalism, the pillars of capitalism slowly falling, brick by brick.
Railroad by track by track. Track by track. I mean, strike by strike.
I'm saying it. And look, and I mean, when you, and this is, and I mean, I know, folks, this has nothing to do with this kind of thing, but when we talk about money in this country, we talk about what money we don't got. We talk about money that other people got. We talking about money on how much stuff costs. We talk about money. It's so ingrained into us to talk about money and capital, and we're so ingrained that it's such a problem. The disparity between the haves and the have-nots. People say, oh, it's going to take 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, 40. This thing is, the gap is getting bigger daily. And real quick, case in point, I just saw, and I know many of y'all probably seen this, but Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors signs a lifetime deal with Under Armour for $1 billion.
Wow. Lifetime, you say?
Like $1 billion for one man and his family. Not throwing no shade on Steph Curry, because I like him too. But it's just the principle of the fact that you're making those type of deals with one human being, and then the planet, you got governments and you got other institutions that say, we don't have money for homelessness, or we don't have money to stop poverty. But you can pay a basketball player $1 billion for the rest of his life, for the life of his children. I mean, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. Look, we got to take a quick pause. We'll see how this Respectful Marriage Act is going to play out. But right now, it's on pause. So we will see if the Republicans will show support for this bill and make it into a law. But more importantly, we'll see how things go in this November primary. Folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's talk about the president meeting with Brittany Griner's family and Paul Whelan's family at the White House today to give them some news that they may not want to hear. We'll have that conversation. Stay tuned. You're tuned into The Culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood-Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back. We want to switch gears now to having another conversation, really an update about a discussion about a topic that many of us have had to see unfold. This is this case of Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan. Of course, Brittany Griner, the WNBA star that was detained and now has been sentenced by Russia for having some illegal substances in her backpack while she was leaving Russia to play from a basketball game. From playing basketball. She was detained back in February, and then the sentencing was done earlier, just about a month ago or so, that was happened, where she has been sentenced to 9 years. Now, as a result of that, there have been a number of folks and voices that have came out to put pressure on the president and his administration to bring Brittany home. And even Paul Whelan's family has been thrown into the mix, even though Paul Whelan does not have the same notoriety of Brittany Griner.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, should we stay hopeful about this? Should we stay hopeful that they're going to get a deal done, that Brittany is going to come home? What are your sentiments right now? What you feeling right now about this, Bakari?
Man, Farajii, this one hurts, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you want to talk about sentiments. I'm a sentimental kind of person, Farajii. This one hurts, man. I mean, I think, again, it's always so many different layers. And I think it's like the media, the way that things are so often framed, it's like Brittany Griner, a minimal amount of hashish oil, right? We all know it's like this is a massive charge for something that's so minimal. When you, again, zoom out and to see the other variables that are then coming into play with Paul Whelan, right? Just all the information about Paul Whelan, and then to consider, I'm not sure the name of the Russian that is in prison that they're potentially talking about. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, Victor Bach. Like, so to see the difference, even if these were all just accusations, let's say no one was found guilty of anything, just the range of difference in the severity of these accusations, to see a Black queer celebrity, athlete, role model, ambassador to the United States, when we're talking about the Olympics, to see someone in that category put on the same playing field with two men, again, another, now American, and just this Russian criminal, is terrifying.
Yeah.
I think it's easy for me. I think in a lot of instances, I think we try to tap into empathy to think about, put yourself in a position of other people when we listen to these stories and talk about, update on what's going on. But this one for me, as a Black queer person, it's really challenging. And to see the way that Brittany Griner is being leveraged, and to see I think the main thing for me that jumps out, and I think in terms of, again, my sentiment around it, is to see what Victor Bout is being, was accused of supplying arms to Al Qaeda. Less than 1 gram, right? 0.7 grams of hashish oil. To see those put on the same playing field regarding negotiations, it's astounding to me.
Oh yeah.
So on one hand, I don't want her to be lumped in with anyone else, but right? When you again zooming out from the perspective of an American, from the perspective of a diplomat, you almost want to think there has to be something else that's being leveraged for someone that was accused of supplying arms to Al Qaeda. This has to be that those scales and those negotiations are not balanced. So one, yes, I absolutely have to remain hopeful just from an energetic standpoint. Just, my spiritual base, my faith, I have to remain hopeful, and I, continue to send prayers up for her protection, mental protection, physical protection. But I can only wonder from the perspective of a diplomat, what else is being put on the table to try to leverage, because those scales just to me just do not seem balanced. And so for the Russians to be stalling and not responsive to this offer, I'm shocked. I'm like, I can only wonder how much more the Russians want us as Americans to be able to put on the table to sort of rectify this situation.
Look, I'm not surprised the Russians are taking their sweet little time.
I'm not either.
President Biden went so hard on Vladimir Putin at the beginning of this war.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It's not funny, but yes, he did.
So you gonna slam me?
Yeah.
Now you want me to do you a solid, do you a favor? You characterize me as being the next boogeyman to the whole world.
Yeah.
Now you want me to come back and release this basketball player who has been playing for us too, who we have shown love to. Now you talk all hard and tough, but then your people are mad because you ain't handling this situation. That's how I gotta think Russia is thinking. Like,
yeah,
hey, bruh, that's on you. You're gonna have to take this L. Because if Putin is the guy, and of course I don't know the man, but if Putin is the guy that America makes him out to be, arrogant, obnoxious, hardcore, then you mean it he don't give a damn about that man that they put. Man, please. In that world, you find another.
The thing that's interesting to me, I again trying to
here's the thing. You got a bargaining chip in Brittany Griner.
Really? Yeah, I was gonna say, but I don't know that we have a bargaining chip.
So if Putin decided to say, we want your American support to be backed up off of, stop supporting Ukraine. If you stop supporting Ukraine, maybe we'll think about sending her home. Now, suppose they say that to us. Now, the president and his administration is confronted with the decision of national interest versus a Black woman basketball player. What do you think is going to take precedence? I mean, for real, folks. My heart and my prayer. I want to see my sister home, man. I do too, right? But in the big scheme of things, she's a bargaining chip. And it's unfortunate that Biden ain't stupid. He probably telling them families like, look, man, we trying, but just give us some more time. I bet you he's telling them, give us some more time.
What else can be said? But again, I can only imagine. If I had to guess, I think that Victor Bout is not expecting Russia to come and save him. Victor Bout knows he knows how Russia operates. He knows that he is, he's out at sea at this point. So I agree with you, Farajii. I think, the Russians are going to go above and beyond this particular bargaining chip. And what does it mean negotiation wise if we are offering someone that's, again, accused of supplying arms to Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and rebels in Rwanda. That's what he's accused of. If we're letting him go, then negotiation wise, if you come down some, how much more are you going to come down?
Right.
So that's just literally how, to some extent, how some negotiations work, right? This is how much we are going to call your bluff, or how much are you actually willing to leverage? How far are you actually willing to go? And I think, Farajii, to your point, Russia has the bargaining chip, right? And they know that
bargaining chip. And guess what? Putin ain't stupid. He watched TV. He knows what's going on in America, just like we know what's going on in Russia, right? He know that. So he like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm going to hold this bargaining chip because it's going to do some damage among the support among your constituents, particularly Black constituents.
Mm-hmm.
Because you made me look foolish, I'm going to make you look foolish.
Yeah. Because
you came up thinking that you was big and tough and you got the big stick of the globe, that I'm going to show you.
Yeah. And this is,
you know what I'm saying? And the sad part about it is, I remember when the war kicked off and when Brittany was trying to get back home, it was all around the same time. Literally, it's like all around the same time. And somebody should have informed the president, hey, Mr. President, they kicking off this war, but we got this American over there. She really popular. Maybe we need to, keep your rhetoric at a certain level. Because I'm telling you, he went so damn hard. It's like, he's not going to stand in front of the world and be like, I'm sorry to Russia. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And guess what? Putin, you already know what they on. They ain't waste no time in sentencing our system. They ain't waste no time. They talking about 10 years. They gave it like 9 in a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? They like, all right, we'll. They didn't waste no time. So it's like America showed our hand already at the beginning, and then you gotta like, oh man, now you gotta backtrack, try to finagle, try to come up with a situation. But suppose Putin says, hey, withdraw your support from Ukraine. Man. Is America willing to do that? For Brittany Griner? For Paul Whelan? Come on, y'all. Y'all think America going to do that?
Mm.
And it's unfortunate.
It is.
It's really, really unfortunate. Let me go to some of the comments real quick before we take our next pause. Sophia checked in. Good to hear from you, sis. You said, what's taking them so long for this deal? That's more concerning because Putin and his regime is vindictive. This makes me very, very concerned militarily. You think America going to send some boots on the ground for Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan? You think America going to how far do you think this effort is going to go? I mean, seriously, I don't know. Hey, Bakari, I like, when do they stop trying to negotiate?
Yeah.
And maybe say, all right, we might have to come back to this. Because the president is meeting with the families today to simply tell them we're still working on it.
Still working. Which we try to see some type of silver lining. At least the negotiations are still going on. Right.
Yeah, like, but now, but see, what's the leverage that, like you said though, Bakari? Now America's going to have to pull up. I mean, they're going to have to. Okay, to say Russia said, all right, we want Victor Bout, we want this, we want that. In the court of public opinion, now Biden and his administration are going to have to figure out, like, damn, how am I going to still bring these Americans home and not look weak in front of my own people or the rest of the world?
Yeah, domestic and international.
International affairs. Shalinda, you checked in and said, I really want Brittany home, but I do not want her to be traded. They'll start kidnapping for real, if they start the trading. You don't like my music. You checked in. You said, if Russia wasn't at war with Ukraine right now, Griner would be free. Probably so. I would agree. My guy, Real Brooklyn, you said, I'm still confused on why anyone would not think to themselves that a country like Russia may do this sort of thing. She took a premeditated chance and now it's a surprise? What the? I don't think anybody should be surprised at this point. They already convicted. They sentenced this sister to 9 years, yo. 9 years. For a little thing of some oil. And now we're wondering why they ain't coming up with letting her free? Come on. Deborah, you checked in. Good to hear from you, Real Brooklyn. Thank you, bro. Deborah, you said, I really hope that Brittany understands that when you're in another country, you cannot do what you want to do. I'm sure she learned that lesson months ago, Deborah. Paco, you checked in. Good to hear from you, Paco. Sound like a new watcher. You said, Columbus Hill, you hit the nail on the head. Isn't it a given fact that ignorance of the law is no excuse? We must be real about this entire matter from the onset. Thank you, Paco. Robin, you checked in and said, speak on it, Real Brooklyn. I will tell you no. Once an American goes to a country that is not considered to be one of our allies, if you get caught up in something, you are on your own. And Tenacious One, you checked in and said, I've watched too many Locked Up Abroad episodes to even take a cough drop into some of these countries. I'm serious. I'm serious. Hey, Bakari, not a cough drop.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even, look, real talk, I wouldn't even take no water right there. I'd be like, man, this ain't, they be thinking it's some radioactive, clear. Nah, dog, it ain't nothing. Some new cocaine. I used to watch Queen of the South, and you know how she sold drugs? She liquefied it.
Listen, I would be terrified.
Distillery.
I would be terrified. I'd be terrified to even, I don't want no misunderstandings.
I don't want no problems. I'm going to this tourist hotel over here, and I'm coming right back home, bro.
That's it.
Sophia, Marcina, you checked in and said, we need to protest in the streets for Brittany. I think it's the only way the administration will do something more. I mean, I hear you, Marcina, but at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. It's such a high level conversation. The administration is very acutely aware of the importance of Brittany Griner and bringing her back home. But you're not, we're looking at this from this side of the conversation. We need to figure out what's the pressure on Russia. Is there any pressure on Putin to let her go? Because anything that's coming from America, that don't mean nothing to him.
Right.
He's literally prosecuting a war with no regards to anybody else. So what makes you all think? I mean, I'm sorry that my spirit is in this manner, but it's just like, yo, I don't know what else we can say to the administration. It's just like, please just do what you can. But I know one thing about America. As much as one life may be important, national interest takes precedence. I'm really sorry, man. I really am sorry. Our sister, man, she got herself in this whole situation. It's just sad, man. I am sorry. You know, honestly, Bakari, I just don't have that same type of faith and hope. I mean, I'm asking the question, should we be hopeful? And I'm like, and each day go by, I'm like, I don't know.
It really is unreal, Farajii. It really is unreal. I mean, and I don't purport to know enough about, you know, what negotiations
right
will be available, right? Like we don't have access to that information. So
right.
I can't imagine what we have to leverage that doesn't put us, you know, nationally, you know, I don't want to say at a disadvantage, right? But in a more precarious position than we already are with Russia in the first place.
Right.
So
right.
I understand.
Well, let me tell you, we will keep folks abreast about what comes out of, if anything significant comes out of the meeting with the Griner and Whelan family, and we will see what the president can do, what he and his team can do. But yeah, sad situation. Look, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's continue to have these conversations. We're going to be checking in with Chromatic Black, an organization for Black creatives, and giving opportunities for Black creatives, and talking about their grant that they're going to be sending out for the called the Ida B. Wells Grant. Let's talk a little bit about how we can support and invest in Black creative arts and culture. So we'll have that conversation. And then later, we'll also talk about unsigned hype, unsigned talent. We'll be checking in one-on-one with Tolivia to talk about what she plans to do if she gets an opportunity to get into the music world. So we'll have that discussion as well. So stay with us. A lot to get to in the second hour of the culture here on the Black Star Network.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Folks, welcome back to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. We truly, truly appreciate that. It is Friday, and we want you to know that we need your continued support. So make sure you do your due justice. And if you've been enjoying the show, if you've been loving the conversations that we've been having, make sure y'all check us out at our website at blackstarnetwork.com. Do something to give to show that you appreciate and that you value what we do here on the show, here on this show, on the culture, and on the network each and every day. So go to blackstarnetwork.com. Please give, and most importantly, continue to support us as we do our thing here with Black-owned media. All right, folks, wanted to have another conversation and talk about how we can make some investments in the next generation of creatives and artists. And so we're happy to have a sister who is checking in from the organization Chromatic Black to talk to us about a grant opportunity that will take artistry in the country to the next level. I am so happy to have my sister on and to make sure that she's getting on. Sister Abina. Sister Abina is Bloodsworth is the CEO and the co-founder. And Sister Abina, just your camera for me. There we go. We want to see your full face, sister. There we go. She serves as the co-founder and CEO of Chromatic Black, whose mission is a very, very powerful mission of making sure that we don't lose sight of the importance of Black culture, that they're doing the work of supporting Black artists and creatives, and they're just continuing to make sure that they are truly, truly for the culture. So Sister Abina, welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. We appreciate you for stopping through.
So nice to be here. And I'm looking at your shirt. I love that.
Oh, yeah, because I'm a full man.
I know. If I did know, I know now. So
Damn identity politics. I appreciate that. So, Sister Abina, let's talk a little bit first about Chromatic Black. Folks, let me just throw it out there. Chromatic Black, you can go check them out on their website at chromaticblack.org. And you can get more information about the great work that they're doing. But Sister Abina, you co-founded this organization. You serve as the CEO, but tell us what it's all about.
Sure. So I co-founded with my partner, Angela Harmon. And Angela is right next to you, but she's in the Bronx. And I'm in Atlanta. This is a pandemic baby, we like to call it. We came together and around a conversation about the need for better story. And instead of grumbling about it, our people are very similar. We come from the same tribe. We said, well, what are we going to do about it? So we established Chromatic Black. It's a collective of artist activists. So people who hold that hybrid. The mission is to disrupt the master narrative with good storytelling. We're informed by Toni Morrison when she talks about the master narrative and all of its contemporary mutations of structural violence. And so we want stories that help us to, as a family and as a community, unpack, what that means and help us to address some of the underlying beliefs, some of the toxic mess that we all swim in. And so we think we can do that through art in the creative disciplines. So the fund that you're talking about is our Ida B. Wells Fund. We named it after Ida B. Wells. She was, early 1840s, unapologetically
unapologetic
Black folks.
Yeah.
In love with herself. And even today, she is really radical and progressive. I just came across a little snippet about Ida B. Wells, where she actually championed for the release of a political prisoner, and got her husband to go and to visit with the man and rallied, resources to be able to free him. He'd been falsely accused of doing a violent act. And she went to sit with him, and she determined that he was innocent. And so I just go, this little tiny petite Black woman, changing the world, walking right into violence and right into blood, and while everybody else was running in the opposite direction. So we named our fund the Ida B. Wells Fund.
That's fantastic, Sister Abina, and I think that it's a excellent name, of course, because of the great contributions that Sister Ida B. Wells has made to Black art, Black journalism. Matter of fact, in our national headquarters for Black Star Network, Brother Roland Martin has a number of pieces to honor Sister Ida B. Wells. So she, of course, is a huge voice for us. But I'm really glad that this grant opportunity is something for Black creators, for Black artists, for Black cultural movers and shakers, because we need it. We absolutely need it. So talk to us. Are you finding that the state? What would you say is the state of the Black arts and culture right now in this country? Because if you ask anybody about Black art, Black music, Black culture, you'll get 1,000,002 different answers. But what do you see as being the state? What does Chromatic Black see as being the state of Black arts, Black culture right now?
So you know what? It's prolific. It's always been prolific. The pain point for us is that there's not much space in the public common to be able to amplify voices, work, perspective, the nuance and the complexity. And so the second half of the mission is not only to disrupt the master narrative, but the vision is, to reclaim story as a public common. And so what the challenge, the pain point is that 99% of what we consume, because it's disseminated by about 6 entities, what we consume is produced, created, distributed by white men. And so, the Black Star Network is an important institution for our community. And so we have to support it, not only because of the content that's being created, but that it is a distribution platform that we can access as Black folks. And not just Black folks, but the world. So you create a table. So it's not that there's not a, prolific art that's being made, transgressive art, groundbreaking art. It's do we have the mechanisms to be able to distribute that content? And then also, do we have the resources to be able to create, to be able to, because the worst thing is I'm a daughter of an artist, and the idea that you can't create, you don't have the resources to create. And so we're hoping with Ida B. Wells Fund, right now we're supporting 3 disciplines: filmmaking, visual arts, and creative placemaking. The goal is to be able to grow the fund, to be able to support 34 disciplines of, artists and culture bearers, and not only to provide the funding, but the scaffolding around artists so that their work can become sustainable.
That is fantastic. Folks, they take a look at it. I'm looking at it here on my computer.
I know. The conference... tell you, what did the fund out of the fund last year? Because this is the second year. It was Christine Swanson and Anjanou Ellis, and they created this short. And Anjanou Ellis is like, she's got an Oscar nomination, and she was like, she had the most fun with this, with our fund, because there was no, she got to just explore and be expansive. And it's now, it just got qualified. So we might get an Oscar for, this little short about Fannie Lou Hamer.
That's fantastic.
I know.
That's fantastic.
It started out that way. It just was like, we're like, oh my goodness. Or Captain Zero, you see that with Lamar Cherie. He's a young animator. His work is amazing. He's a suicide survivor. He channeled his work about the need for support, didn't know. And so he came up with this idea of a superhero that's manic depressive. It is witty and funny, and and so we were able to create just a tiny short, and then the goal is, an episodic series just exploring, how we manage our own well-being during, a very stressful time.
Oh my gosh. And see, this is why it's important for us to even, 1, have the conversation, but 2, it's important for us to invest, because these artists are telling our stories in a very, very unique way where our children will be able to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm convinced that sometimes your child has to see something in a book, or maybe they see a cartoon that talks about certain issues that we as parents sometimes may find difficult for us to sit down and talk to about our children, but they put it in such a way, now the child's interest has been sparked. Then they're like, Dad or Mom or Auntie, Grandma, like I saw this on TV. What's this about? And that helps to kind of get the conversation started. So for an artist to delve that deep into mental health and wellness and then put it out there on a child's level, that talk to somebody if you're feeling sad and all of those things, that's important, man. That is super, super important. All right, I want to give my culture crew member Bakari Jones, who's checking in as well, and give her an opportunity to chat with you, Sister Abina, as we have this conversation about Chromatic Black and the work of and the Ida B. Wells Grant Fund.
The head.
I know we shifted.
And Bakari, and see, this is right up your alley. Because, you're doing the work, and especially as a nonprofit leader that you are, how important is it for artists and for us to even have a conversation about supporting Black art in this capacity, in this fashion?
Oh, man, it's so necessary. It's so necessary. And I think what Sister Abina lifted up is that, it's unfortunate, but it's also, I would say it's tragic when you see someone that's an artist that doesn't have the resources that they need to produce their art, like to produce that which is innate and part of them, when they don't have the resources to be able to cultivate that, like it's a part of their, I think a lot of artists, a part of their soul's work, their mission, and we don't have the resources to be able to do it. It's tragic. So to me, this is exciting. This is you know, I'm excited just to have you with us today to be able to talk about this. I'm curious. I saw that you had I'm also looking at the site, the short films, the visual arts, and the creative placemaking. My first question is, can you just tell us a little bit more about what creative placemaking is, what that is, what that could look like in the near future?
Oh, yeah, happy to. So the creative placemaking is essentially, it's the reclamation of space, guys. So, you know, space and time is a way that white supremacy enacts its violence against Black folks. So it's rooted in this theory of change, of repurposing spaces, building consensus for Black folks. And so some of the spaces that we're taking a look at is like the Deluxe Theater in Houston, under the leadership of Kathy Payton, who's a dancer and choreographer. So she's reclaiming this space in the Fifth Ward, this Art Deco theater. It was the only movie theater Black folks could visit during segregation. She's using that to like restore it, so that we'd have a place to like be able to experience our art. It also becomes like this anchor for economic development for a community. So it's like a staking place. Or the Dreamland Theater in Tulsa, with Colby Webster and a team of architects. And essentially it's a way to reclaim that space. So it's a Black-owned theater that was thriving up until the massacre. And then you've got some new projects with folks that are just ideating. So the Alfredo Cinema, which is Melissa Lyle in Brooklyn. So, you know, right up the street from you guys. And so she's like, you know, can we take this? It's in celebration of her late beloved grandmother in East New York. And then we've got the Luminal Theater, who's a bit different, and that's Curtis Caesar John and his wife, Delana. Let me make sure I call her name. And it's on a farm, and it's in the middle of Columbia, South Carolina. So he's addressing like food safety and security, but it's a way that we reclaim space. So that's an example. You know, the filmmakers, we're giving out $15,000. The broad theme is disrupting the master narrative. And the visual artists, which is our tiniest, we're giving about $2,000 to about 6 visual artists. And what we're asking is like, create art, not in response to what's happening, but like just try to imagine what you would create in the absence of white gaze. And then, you know, inject that into the universe. And it's the last thing I have to say. It's important that we support our artists because they're the folks that help us to hear between the spaces.
Come on.
And help us to imagine beyond where we are. And right now we're so polarized, where the country is extremely conservative and like this view of our humanity becomes extremely limited. I think the best gift Black folks can give ourselves is to have as an expansive view of our own humanity. Because once we are clear, and you know, once we're clear and we're resolute about that vision, then we can bring it to life. And we have so many examples of that being true. And so we are the saviors. If we're the conscience of humanity, then we can't have a limited view, which is why we have to invest in our artists.
I love it. Bakari, I love it. I'm loving it. I especially love that part about, you know, doing art outside of the white gaze, which is, I was talking to my wife just last night or so, or 2 nights ago, we were talking about the number of white writers that are in the industry. And 80% of what we see on television comes through the mind of a white person, particularly white men.
Even when you see blackface.
Even when you see black faces.
And when we see these characters, and then we start to mimic what we see as if it is black, and it is not.
Right. And I think that's why the wins that we saw with the Emmys from Quentin Bronson, and when you start to see Black women and just Black writers, Black authors, Black creatives, you know what I mean, really like redefining the game, it speaks volumes. Very quickly, Sister Albini, I want to kind of put out some dates, because there are some dates for each one of these grants. So your deadline to apply for short film grants is October the 28th. The deadline to apply for visual arts is November 3rd. And then the deadline to apply for creative placemaking is December the 1st. So the 28th of October, November 3rd, December the 1st are the deadlines for all of these. So folks need to kind of get started and putting their package together right now, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. The juries are good. We want to know who you are. And can I say, if you missed the deadline, please reach out, talk to us. We're most interested, want to know who you are, and want to be able to provide, any support that we may be able to. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the website again is chromaticblack.org, folks. CHROMATIC, chromaticblack.org. You can get all the information about the Ida B. Wells grant opportunity. If you are a Black creative, if you are a Black artist, filmmaker, visual designer, if you are a Black person that is doing creative placemaking, all of those things, you can be supported with this grant opportunity. How many grants are we talking about here, Sister Beanie, that's going to be distributed?
Yeah, so $15,000 for filmmakers.
Okay.
$2,000 for visual artists, and $25,000 for creative placemakers.
That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
And if you're not an artist but you want to help, write us a check.
Right. Right.
Can I ask, what about distribution? How do people share these incredible stories that are being produced?
Yep, great point.
You know what? We can help to screen. So if you would like to be able to screen one of the films, get in touch with us. We've got this really cool platform where we're able to screen wherever you are. And you can bring folks together, and you can help to screen. So that'd be so helpful. And of course, share it out across all your social media platforms.
That's awesome. And what is your social for Chromatic Black?
Oh gosh, I think it's they're gonna get me. I think it's Chromatic Black on Instagram, and there's an Ida B. Wells Fund on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I'll make sure I get that to you.
Yes, please do.
They prepped me before I came. I'm so sorry.
Right. They prepped you. They didn't give you the social media. There you go.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
My man Keenan's on it. There it is, folks. Hey, Keenan, scroll to the top, but just want to make sure we get the right. Make sure we get the right.
Yes, Chromatic.Black. Thank you.
There is Chromatic.Black, because I know people gonna go to Chromatic Black and be like, where's that? What are they doing? Chromatic.Black. All right, there it is, right there. Sister Beanie, thank you so much.
Thank
we
you,
truly
guys.
Appreciate it.
Big fans. Thank you so much for the work that you do too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Sister Albini Bloodsworth, who is co-founder and CEO of Chromatic Black. Folks, if you want to get more information about their grant opportunity for the Ida B. Wells grant opportunity, check them out at chromaticblack.org. Again, that's chromaticblack.org. All right, folks, we got to take another pause. When we come forward, let's talk about music. I have one unsigned talent that's going to be joining us for this conversation. Her name is Tolivia. She just wants to be heard, but we're going to ask her, what do you want to do once you get more involved into the industry? How are you going to shape the culture? We'll have that conversation with this young sister. So stay with us. That discussion, and I got Trends Posting doing a move, is coming at you in the final few minutes of today's show, right here on The Culture, only on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. We wanted to end out this show today. We've been having a great show to kind of shine a little culture spotlight on an unsigned talent, a sister who is looking to make her mark in the music industry. And so we're so happy to have her joining us on the show today. And we don't know what's in the stars for our sister and where she will go, but we want to show her that she has the full support of the culture here at the Black Star Network. So we're happy to joining us Tolivia, who is checking in this afternoon to talk about her music career and the legacy that she wants to make. Tolivia.
Yes.
How are you, sis?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. And welcome to the culture.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I've heard a lot about this beautiful network, and I'm so happy to have a conversation with you about music. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. First and foremost, for those who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about yourself. What genre would you put your music to, Tolivia?
I'm putting my genre in R&B soul with a cherry on top of classical and jazz.
Wait a minute. Hold up, sister.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yes,
you know what? I'm gonna have to bring my culture crew member Bakari, because you know what? I can see already you're gonna be too much for me to try to process. Bakari, let's bring you back in very quickly.
Perfect.
All right, so R&B soul with a little bit of classical.
Wow. It's a little classical on the top.
All right, so when you say classical, were you classically trained in music?
Yes, for sure. So I went to Cleveland State and got my degree in vocal performance. And before then, I went to a visual and performing arts school in high school, and I was classically trained there. Being introduced to classical music really was an open mind experience for me, and understanding music on that type of level, learning about the key signatures, major, minor, and just the theory of it all.
Yeah,
it really shaped my overall voice, but also expression. I'm rooted in R&B though. I'm rooted in neo soul, but I can't leave the beauty and the education and the experience of classical music out of my expression. So.
All right, so let me ask you, how important, because I've heard a lot of different stories, and I'm sure Bakari probably can share some thoughts on this as well. But I've heard of so many different stories of singers, on both men and women, who kind of got into music because of, they just have a love for music, yeah. But they didn't necessarily go through the traditional teaching and understanding music. How does that give you like a quote unquote competitive advantage on somebody that just might just say, hey, I just got the rare raw talent? Where does that training put you in the big scheme of things?
Great question. I think that it does give me a competitive route, but I do believe that it's just a difference of learning music. The beauty of learning it is that you don't have to be book taught. You can hear it by your senses, by your ear, being around it. So your exposure as well. So I do believe that still I have a different level of musicianship that I can bring to music and just to musicianship, but I don't invalid ear training ways of how to learn and express yourself through music. I think it's beauty to still learn the theory and different practices and techniques that classical music can still help you with your expression of music. But I think there's still beastly beautiful music that you're not always book taught, or that you don't always have to learn. So I think in both ways, where you can be classically trained and not really like non-book taught, right? There's still beauty in learning how to improvise a little different, more than just being reading what the notes are actually on the sheet of paper, versus being non-book taught and learning how to learn music and structures of cadences, and how to put on different key signatures and modulations. Those technical terms may be new for someone that is not really book taught, and it just helps to put a lot more crystallization, if I would say, on what you already have in your expertise, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know what you just said. Let me stop playing. I do know. Let me stop playing. No, and that's why I'm saying, because the technical, the ins and outs, the technical sound of music, right? Like you're talking about modulations, you're talking about understanding. It's not just like, oh, just throw it on a beat. There are some technical things, and yet a lot of people don't know that some of our more seasoned veterans and even some of the newcomers' voices are classically trained. These are folks that have gone to school, understood music. Now you might say, well, if they're classically trained, but they're putting out certain type of content, that's neither here nor there. That's an artistic choice. But that doesn't take away the fact that they know the ins and outs, the technicalities of music. All right, so I wanted to first ask you this, and then I'm gonna give Bakari an opportunity to share her thoughts on this. One is, how old are you?
29.
You're 29?
Yeah.
Why did I think you were younger?
Oh, it's because of my inner child energy. That's just.
Oh no, she just broke me down on that one. Like,
when talking about my passion, when exploring and having conversations about it, I feel inner child energy. I feel enthusiastic, passionate. I explore it every day. So I'm glad that my energy can come off as a little young thing, because I still am.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. All right, Bakari, what would you like to share with Tolivia today?
I'm just curious. I got questions. Tolivia, what type of content do you center your music around? Do you write your own lyrics? Do you arrange? Do you tell us, with your background, what the extent, or what are the different roles that you're playing when it comes to creating and producing your music?
Great question. One of the few roles that I play, I would say is, well, first I songwrite. Being classically trained and getting my degree, I had to get in tune with the piano, and of course, as explained before, my roots are R&B and neo soul. So in the times where I was not wanting to, practice my classical musical repertoire, I will go to the piano and play Stevie Wonder. So I'm still rooted into R&B songs. My current singles that are out right now have to do with just connecting with different past relationships, how you want to navigate through them. So I do talk about the heartbreaks, the ebbs and flow of life in regards to past relationships and mindsets. But I like to talk about that struggle of trying to understand your self-expression, being in so many different facets of music. I believe that my expression can come from learning where I fit, so exploring that and not making that a negative notion. I have fun with my songwriting. So I would say that the roles that I play, I co-produce, I songwrite, I'll arrange a little bit. There can be some songs that I love as far as Lil Wayne, being classically trained also, you have a wide spectrum of music, really. So
So that leads me to my next question. if you had to, and I would say no more than 3, but if you gave us a mashup of, 2 to 3 artists that we kind of melded them together, we might get like a little bit of what Tolivia is bringing us, giving us, on your different tracks. Who would you put in that category that we could kind of start to wrap our minds around your sound?
I'm gonna say Anita Baker.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Leanne La Havas. I don't know if you all are aware of her.
Okay.
And I will also say Janae Aiko.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Anita, Leanne, and Janae.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go put those in the
put them on a mix.
The spaceship.
Exactly.
I don't even know where to start with that. Like I wouldn't even know.
Right.
I don't even know how to get them ingredients cooking. What?
See, so I think that's the beauty, right, of artistry, is that we're not fitting one artist to one genre. I think that in Black music in general, we have so many roots in music genres that we can float. And I think that's the beauty of my sound, and also just R&B. Yeah, I was, taught how technicality, how to learn and sing properly by the grace of God. But at the end of the day, I'm so thankful that that expression can still be from my roots. I was raised on Bob Marley. I was raised on Stevie and Luther and Anita and Earth, Wind and Fire. So those things going into learning about Beethoven and Mozart and French composers, it just is a beautiful world to explore. But at the end of it, right, I still wanted to understand different routes of the R&B tree, which is jazz. So at the end of it, that's where Anita really stood out for me at the end of my degree, but in the start of my artistry. So that's an experimental genre that I like to play around with too, that gives me inspiration. So all in all, I'm just thankful that Black music is really rooted in just about all these genres out here. And the importance of understanding that we can be in all of this all at the same time and still make an impact. That's a big message of Tolivia. That's a big message of what I stand for and the legacy I'm trying to bring.
All right, so Tolivia, you got our online culture crew going crazy. They like, yo, wait a minute. First and foremost, Farajii, where the heck you find this sister from? Sometimes, all right, let me just share with you just a little bit of what folks say.
Okay.
You don't like my music, checked in and said, if she's classically trained, she's not just a voice. She can write her own stuff.
That's true.
There it is. Mingly Natasha Surd said, I like her vibe. There it is. Didi, you checked in. You said, Tolivia, her music will be amazing with all the genres she's melting together. Damn, sis. Please bring. We need some new.
Yes. Thank you,
There
Didi.
it is. My man Damon checked in. He said, most Black people play and sing by ear. You see this in the church. Knowing music theory opens the door for other opportunities. My son is studying music in college and is a professional drummer. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. LJ007 said, she's an old soul. I'm here for it.
Thank you, LJ.
Right. Miss Respect 90 said, thanks for giving sis a spotlight, Farajii. Where can we stream or buy her music? So I know people want to hear what you got to say. All right, so let me make sure we got a little something to play.
Okay. Oh, yes.
You want to set this? You want to just let people know? You know what I'm saying? I like to give the artist the space to introduce their work. So you want to talk about, it's the YouTube clip that we got from your team. So talk to us a little bit about this piece we're about to hear.
Yes. So Travel is my new single that dropped a little bit before the summer, but I wanted to give a summer vibe of a song for friends, lovers, people that want to travel the world, that want to,
Oh yeah.
we've been in the house for a while.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
it's time, and the world's opening back up a little more and a little more. So I wanted to give that inspiration of having the excitement to plan again, planning trips and traveling with your boo. And they want to act like, they don't want to come, but they want to come. So, yes, it's risk out here, but just getting back into the world of having fun and traveling and seeing the world, even if it's local. I wanted to bring that type of song. So my new song is Travel. You can find that on all streaming platforms and on YouTube too. But yeah, here it is. Check it out.
All right, here it is, folks. Let's play Travel by our sister Tolivia. Here's a little bit of what she got to offer.
Get your passport, give your torch, look up where we going. Put the trip, suck your tip, throwing little shit just to show you it's worth it. No payment plans, please understand that I do not pack light. So pack up all your shit, just can't wait no more. Boarding time 7:44 to go to LA, Chicago, Houston, Vegas, go to Miami, Toronto. I'm gonna change my scenery with you next to me. Get out of where we know, go where we can grow. I know that you want to go with me. It's an assumption, but I know what it is. 'Cause you would be sick if you heard about it. Asking dates, times, messages, and who's going. Look at you, want to be in the know. Hello, payment plans, please understand that I do not pack light. So pack up all your shit, just can't wait no more. Boarding time is 7:44 too. Giving you my time, make me satisfied. Booking trips tonight. Go to LA, Chicago, Houston, Vegas. Go to Miami, Toronto. I'm gonna change my scenery with you next to me. Get out of where we know, go where we can go. I know that you want to go with me. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Y'all, if I had one of them hand clapping machines right now, Bakari.
Thank you.
Wow. Tolivia, that's the sound right now, too.
Oh, good.
That's that sound right now.
You know, say the little, trap soul, like.
No, look. You wanna slow that thing down a little bit, just kind of like, especially on a Friday. That's why I said let me get Tolivia on a Friday.
Yes.
Right. Because as we go into the weekend, you know what I'm saying? You just want your mind to go into a space. You're like, yo, I must just take a step out, man. I might go out, might go somewhere this weekend for a day, have a little day trip, something. Man, but that's why I was like, let me do this on a Friday, because I know the sister gonna bring something.
That's perfect.
Man, oh man. Folks are checking in on our online culture crew, Tolivia. They got a bunch of emojis, from fire signs to clapping hands to people are just checking in all over. Zoe checked in and said, love the cover art and music is a whole vibe. What is your dream collabo, dead or alive? What's your dream collabo? Who would that be?
I'm gonna say my dream D'Angelo. He is something about what he brought to neo soul in the 90s. In the 90s, where people wasn't even hearing that. They was like, what? We can't even understand, but his vibe. D'Angelo.
A black man.
A black man. Some call him the godfather of neo soul. Some do. D'Angelo. For sure.
You know, and okay, so people call him the godfather. What would Erykah Badu be?
Godmother. because I don't know if you know this. In the time when D'Angelo was coming up, he had Badu as his opener. Can you imagine that nowadays? I mean, the 90s was just a crazy time for music.
Yes.
So.
That's dope. That is super dope. All right. McCole said, time to go on a vacation after hearing this song, Tolivia. There we go. That's what we wanted people to do.
For sure. Book the trip.
Right.
Awesome. Great. Well, I'm just so thankful to even share my artistry and my message of self-expression. You don't have to be classically trained to still make music, to be exploring your passions and artistry. There's always a lane, and it's just so great that we're in a digital time where we can create our own lane. So do it. Don't waste no other time. The time is now. And this is also self-talk that I give myself. My new mixtape is coming out in winter called Ego Talk, and Travel will be on there along with my other single that dropped this year, Say It, and just other songs that I have that I'm so excited to share just about my journey in ego, not dismissing it, right? But getting to know what it is, what type of emotions are my inner guru trying to tell me while I'm trying to get this work-life balance and figure out life. That's the beauty of artistry. That's the beauty of creativity, is being able to express what you're going through.
Yeah.
And you can put it in song, you can put it in a poem, you can put it in a rap, you can put it in any type of way. And it doesn't have to appease anybody. But as long as it appeases you and one person, you're good. You're good.
Damon, Tolivia, Damon checked in. He said to ask you, do you have perfect pitch?
Oh, no, I don't. No, I don't. And it's okay. I think that it's a beautiful ability to be born with. And you can become relatively pitched too, because that's the other part of being perfect pitch. You can be close to the note of what you want to hear or what tone is being played for you. But I do know people that are perfect pitched, and I admire that skill. But I think that's also being more in tune with your instrument. And I think it's still beauty if you're not. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. All right. So the fact is that are you currently a signed artist? Because I kind of was okay. That's why I wanted to make sure you are an unsigned artist.
Yep, unsigned.
So you're doing this independently.
Yep.
And of course, we're going to support you here at the Culture, because you are definitely doing it good and doing it big for the culture. So you're an unsigned artist. So I always like to ask, do you want to be signed? Because I know in this day and time, being a part of the music industry is not a whole vibe. It could be a whole headache.
Yeah,
right?
it can.
You know what I'm saying? But do you want to kind of be signed by a major label and then going down that path, or what's your vision for your career here?
My vision is to see what entails. I do have interest of being signed to a major record label, and I also have interest of being signed to a major independent label, but my goal is to keep my integrity, is to keep my metric focus on engaging with my fans, with my music, and divine wisdom. So I'm open to what God has in store for the well-paid opportunities along my life ordained. However, I'm open to what my passions and exploring them and my dreams, and how that has shape me to where I am, and seeing what doors of opportunity take me there. So I'm open. I'm not shying away from it, but I do know I have integrity and God right here, and I'll be fine.
You know, I don't have nothing to even follow up with that.
Mic drop. Mic drop. I'm gonna ask again. I know you said you're on all platforms. Please drop your ad, your handles, all of that good stuff.
Okay, so you guys can find me at _ TOLIVIA Tolivia on IG. You all can find me also, just all of my social media is on my website, ToliviaSings.com. I'm on TikTok as well. I'm on all music platform streaming. So Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, just type in Tolivia Travel. You all can pull up my profile and go there. Again, my EP is dropping this winter called Eagle Talk. Please stay in tune. Follow me on IG. I follow back. I support Black-owned businesses. So if anybody has any type of skincare products or things to want to, collab with, I'm open for that too. But ultimately, I'm all for artistry. I'm all for music and promoting R&B, classical music, and jazz music, and being able to just expose our community to that. So you all can find me there. ToliviaSings.com.
I was about to ask you, you got a website, Tolivia?
Yes, sir.
I'm about to be your marketing manager, like Tolivia. Put out the website.
Yep. I'm looking at the website right now. She got the video up on the home screen.
You can purchase my travel joint right now for
go.
$199. You guys can download it, have it forever. You all can also purchase my other single, and my EP will be purchased for single and download as well, coming this winter.
That is beautiful. I'm looking at it, folks. ToliviaSings.com. The song is Travel, brand new single out right now. Tolivia's taking you all around the world in a whole new vibe, in space, out of time, coming back home, chilling in Manhattan, then going getting lunch in Cairo. She's just doing it all with travel. And folks, booking her. You can book this dynamic, unsigned hype. Booking her. So, hey, look, Tolivia, everything is real. We gotta get you some bookings.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I can go on my website if I need a single for a wedding, extravaganza, party, any of that sort. I'm singing right there for a showcase opening for a music production company. That's the type of gigs that I like to do locally. I'll go internationally. It don't matter.
Right.
ToliviaSings.com. You guys can book me right now.
There it is right there. Tolivia, I want to thank you for your time with us this afternoon, sis. More importantly, I thank you for the spirit in which you came in, and the artistry you bring in, and it's just so refreshing. I mean, so refreshing. And this is like one of our initial first culture spotlights, and so this is really a real pleasure. I don't foresee you being unsigned for too much longer. Somebody is going to invest in you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody is going to invest in you. And because of your mindset and the spirit in which you're doing your music in, doors are going to open up. You know what I mean? Just keep your circle close. You know what I'm saying? Keep your circle close. But more importantly, keep your eyes, your ears, and your heart open, sis. So, congratulations on all the success you've been able to have thus far. But I'm expecting to hear some big things. Just when you get big, just remember the little people at Black Star.
Oh, not
the
little.
culture.
Big people here. I appreciate the space, holding space.
I appreciate you. Big shout out to you and your family. And I'm really, you are a real winner. So Tolivia, thank you. Bakari, you got any words for our sister? Any words of encouragement, advice?
Keep going. Just keep going. Keep sharing. Yeah. Keep sharing. Keep posting.
Will do.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to more. So I'm ready for the EP.
And look, let me just tell you, Bakari real humble about hers. But she know a lot of people in a lot of different spaces. And Bakari actually is a fantastic event organizer,
Farajii,
promoter.
I didn't want to bring it up because I'm like, I need to.
Hey,
book
no.
her.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
Love it. I love
No,
it.
I'm telling you, she's in those spaces with black women, black men who would just lift you up. I'm not even adding no yeast to it, Tolivia.
Oh, the wheels are turning, brother. The wheels
I'm telling you, she will put you in the space.
I done already slid in the DMs, Farajii. I done already slid in the DMs. I'll be sitting here. I done already slid in the DMs, bro.
Yo, I'm telling you.
Thank you.
You would be perfect. I could see you at a Bakari Jones event.
It's happening. It's in the works.
Seriously, I could see that. So don't, please support each sister. Again, put out your Insta for us one more time, Tolivia.
Yes, Instagram _TOLIVIA. You can follow me there. I will follow back, and please stay tuned. I always drop singing videos. I'm always taking requests for any type of R&B songs y'all like, staying engaged in that way. Those are the type of things that I like to do to connect with my fan base. The ones that DM me that say, I love your music, please keep going. This is the type of motivation I like to bring. So
there it is right there. There it is. Hey, Tolivia, thank you so much. And more importantly, thank you for being so good for the culture, sis. We truly appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. You guys stay safe. God bless.
God bless. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh man, Bakari. Thank you, sis. Hey, Bakari, I know you about to book her. I know you about to book Tolivia.
You already know. I'm like, let me get in here right now before she gets signed. You know?
Right. Hey, look, because the price is about to go
Yesterday's price not going to be tomorrow's price once she gets signed. You already know. You already know. No, she was.
Hey, look. Hey, real quick. Did you hear about the sister who, I forgot this artist's name, but she was booking, she had booked some events at one price. She had a single that went very hot. And then from the one price she had over a 3-week period, she tripled the price. And she started to tell people, if you can't meet this price, I ain't doing your event. After she already signed contract.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
It's Friday. That's it. Farajii, I look, with my Girl Scout honor, I already slid into her DM.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's it.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Look, without that much, minimal production, I'm like, my wheels already started turning, Farajii. I'm supposed to be in retirement from the event.
Retiring.
Woo!
No, look, I tell people the same thing. They be like, yo, you still doing it? I give them the Fat Joe. Like, bro, I'm on TV. Yesterday's price. Not today's price, baby.
Man, it's not.
I'm on a national show on a national black platform. You're not getting me at the same cost, bro.
That's it. That's it.
It's just what it is.
Farajii,
yesterday's price.
You're doing a great job.
It's not today's
I went live on my IG today just to get more people to tune in.
Yes.
To be contributing, following, streaming, all that good stuff.
Hey, look, Bakari, what's your handles? Give us your Insta so that way we can.
IG is at Jones Get Biz Dev, JonesGetBizDe.
There it is.
Business Development, Bakari. BakariJones.com. Speaking, coaching, consulting, facilitating, idea mapping. Connecting the dots, man. Come on. Thank you for having me, Farajii. I appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely. There it is right there. Boom. Bakari Jones, folks. Right there.
Yeah, man.
Woo!
That's it.
There it is. There it is right there.
New website coming soon, man. So
there it is.
I'm excited.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, Bakari, thank you so much. We truly love and appreciate you, sis. Thank you so much for being so good for the culture.
You as well, brother.
All right.
Talk to you in a bit.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Let me give you my Instagram because I need y'all to follow me. Y'all following Tolivia. Y'all gonna follow Bakari. You gotta follow Farajii. That's right. The real Farajii. You can do it right now. You know, I had to go through a whole different track. I know some people look on my Instagram like, yo, you ain't even got a lot of pictures. Because I had to go through a whole different situation. So, you know, my account was going through trouble.
Yesterday's price
That's it.
is not today's price.
That's right. That's how you go into the weekend. Big shout out to my man, King Keenan. I love it. I love it. Make sure y'all follow me, The Real Farajii, on Instagram, Farajii on Twitter, Farajii Muhammad on Facebook. I would love to connect with you. I do follow back as well. But more importantly, let's connect. Let's continue to build. Let's continue to make this show, this platform so good. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, folks, stay tuned. That's going to do it for us today. Big shout out to my fantastic team, my special guest. I want to thank Tolivia for checking in. Thank you so much. I want to thank Bakari. I want to thank my Joe Shannon. I want to thank Ariel, my man King Keenan, always doing it, and my control room. My control room. Thank you so much for making the show great. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in. My online culture crew, always there. Y'all ride with me, ups and downs. I know y'all like, man, who are all these people coming into the room, into the space? Don't change the energy of the culture crew space, folks. Don't go into my culture crew space, change up the energy, creating division and all types of madness. Don't do it. Because my culture crew, they serious. If they listen to Black Star, they know, boy, they put your ass on fire. Don't do it. Don't do it. Damon, you are king blocker. I know you block him, Damon. I know it. I know it, sir. But yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you. All right, folks, as always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we will talk on Monday for another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a great weekend, everyone. And God willing, we'll see each other soon. Peace.